freezing rain to the mix after that heavy blast of snow overnight for Metro Vancouver and the Valley. That rain will be the heaviest in the eastern Fraser Valley this afternoon. U.S. President Biden calls out Donald Trump. Biden says Trump absolutely tried to prevent the peaceful transition of power after losing the last election. Still to come with Bill Good, Bill looks back on that U.S. insurrection 1 year later.
Increasingly, evidence points to the fact that Donald Trump sat in his office watching events unfold and for hours made no effort to call off his supporters.
Time for sports from Sportsnet 650, home of the Canucks. Here's Caroline Frolick.
Well, Terry, those Canucks haven't played since Saturday and won't play until this Saturday, as of now. We'll get to that in just a moment. The Canucks will be back at the rink at practice today, minus Elias Pettersson. Keedy entered COVID protocol yesterday. Head coach Bruce Boudreau spoke to Canucks Central on Sportsnet 650 last night, and he's like all of us. When will the Canucks play again? We're all itching to see the Canucks back in action.
Got the Leaf game on going, when are we going to play? So, hopefully it happens soon and Saturday night. And we look forward to getting back on the ice and in front of whoever, how many people we're in front of, we're going to play our butts off.
The Canucks are still scheduled to host the Senators Saturday night. Tonight's Sens at Kraken game was postponed because of an outbreak within the Ottawa organization. Of course, we're watching this closely and we'll keep you posted. As of now, it is still game on Saturday. Tonight, we have 11 games on the go in the NHL, including the Flames paying a visit to the Lightning. Calgary had won their first two games since the return from break in convincing fashion, then hit the wall against the Panthers in a 6-2 loss, while Tampa's coming off a win that snapped a 3-game losing streak. Tampa also getting Nikita Kucherov back tonight. He's been on injured reserve after undergoing surgery back in October. And the Jets paying a visit to the Avalanche. Winnipeg looking to win their fourth straight game. 4 to 15 and 45 past the Real or anytime at sportsnet.ca.
Watch, listen, connect.
Whenever and wherever you are.
This is City News 1130. Everywhere.
I hope you are safe and warm wherever you are. Port Coquitlam Mayor Brad West had a bit of an eye-opener this morning. He rode shotgun in a snowplow. Amazed by the skill of the crews.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you got to get into some pretty tight spots. You got cars parked on either side, and they really display a lot of care and diligence about not wanting to chuck the snow onto someone's driveway, or if someone has just shoveled out their driveway. Or their sidewalk.
West says some neighborhoods in Poco got about 25 centimeters of snow. Elsewhere, conditions are not great on many roads, ice being a big issue. Buses on hills are struggling to get around. SkyTrains are running slower than normal as well. Surrey's mayoral race may soon include a well-known and long-serving NDP MLA. Labor Minister Harry Baines telling the media he's thinking about putting his name out there. Surrey Now leader, columnist Frank Buckholt says Baines has a lot to consider.
Probably the first thing Harry Baines would be considering is what is his prospects provincially, and what things is he going to be doing there in the future.
Councillor Brenda Locke has already announced her plan to run for mayor. Current Mayor Doug McCallum plans to run again. Civic election is in October. Still no change in the standoff between the world's top tennis player and the Australian government. Novak Djokovic is down under to play in the Australian Open, but he isn't being allowed into the country because of its COVID vaccine policies. ESPN tennis analyst Patrick McEnroe says it didn't have to happen this way.
He could have said, look, I have this kind of condition. I had COVID again in the last 6 months. That's one of the things that could get you an exemption. We don't know. I'm hearing all sorts of different rumors about what the supposed medical exemption.
For now, the Serbian is stuck in a hotel room in Melbourne. Coming up in under a minute, traffic and weather together on the ones. It is 9:20.
For today's top local stories, watch City News tonight at 6 and 11 on City TV.
Television's biggest dramas live on City TV. Two blockbuster franchises, two knockout nights. Wednesday, it's Chicago Med, Fire, and PD. Followed by Law & Order, SVU, and Organized Crime on Thursday.
We keep fighting
Together, TV's powerhouse dramas, all in one place. Chicago Wednesday, Monday to Thursday, only on City TV. Or stream anytime on the City TV app or citytv.com.
9:21 to the traffic center and Ryan Lidemark.
Well, Terry, we had a bit of snow, and yeah, tad slippery out there. You think? Port Penn, winter maintenance, HOV lanes closed off both ways. It is busy for the number one in the valley, all the way up through Burnaby into Vancouver. In Burnaby, power's out for 1,000 customers. Gallardi Way, University Drive, down Burnaby Mountain Parkway to Duffy. So, yeah, there's no students going to SFU anyway. It's been canceled. But very slippery in that stretch, and watch out for those flashing lights. In Coquitlam, vehicle in the ditch. Low heat at Pitt River Road. Westbound low heat's down to one lane and backing up to Chilco Drive. Maple Ridge, a collision low heat at 287th. A reminder, the Massey Tunnel didn't have a counterflow this morning. You're still busy for 99. Delta Richmond to the Oak Street Bridge. Same for the Alex Fraser Bridge. Coquella Highway. There's a jackknife semi still closed off north of Hope. The number one is still shut down north of Boston Bar. And Highway 3, now that's open for all travelers east of Hope to the interior. And traffic is brought to you by Shoppers Drug Mart. This Friday to Wednesday, there's a Shoppers Drug Mart for the bonus redemption event and get more for your points. A Shoppers Drug Mart exclusive, offered valid in-store and online.
To the Penfolds Roofing and Solar Weather Center, he's got a brand new 5-day forecast, and I, for one, would like to know more about this freezing rain because it could be a big deal. Here is Michael Coos.
So for the Fraser Valley, I think it will be. The only saving grace for at least the roadways is that the snow is down, so that freezing rain, the freezing drizzle we have now, and the heavier freezing rain on the way through the afternoon is going to fall onto those snowy surfaces, making for a heavy weight, but not quite as treacherous. It is a big concern, though, for trees, for branches, for bushes, where that snow load could really pile up, knock out power where the trees and limbs come down. We're looking at potential of 10 to 15 millimeters of ice accretion if we still see those temperatures lingering below freezing for the valley. Closer to the coast, it's going to transition to rain relatively quickly. Temperatures by noon should be up above freezing. It gets up to around 4 degrees through late afternoon and evening for Metro Vancouver. Into the overnight is periods of heavier rain, tapers off tomorrow morning, and then the winds, the next phase of this system as it rolls away, 30 to 60 kilometer per hour winds for Friday afternoon under a sunny sky later in the day. Sunday we could see a few flurries or mixed precipitation in the afternoon. Warms up, partly cloudy on Sunday to 5 degrees. Monday and Tuesday warmer still. Rain on the way for late Monday and into Tuesday. Tuesday as warm as 8 degrees as we look a little longer range. Right now it's -2 in Fort Langley, -2 in Coquitlam, but only -7 in Abbotsford. The daytime high, the guaranteed high, 4 degrees.
Listen every weekday for Michael's Guaranteed High. If you miss it by more than 2 degrees, you could get that escalating jackpot. 3,800 in that jackpot this morning.
Michael's weather brought to you by Shannon Oaks. Are you tired of cooking and shopping for one? Experience amazing meals and first-class living at Shannon Oaks Retirement Community. Visit shannanoaks.com.
City News 1130, Insider Exclusive.
This month, enter online for the chance to win 2 Voom cards and a $200 Whole Foods gift card. Voom card is the ultimate stylish personal shopping cart, engineered to power walk your shop, carrying up to 70 pounds effortlessly in 2 removable bins.
Get all the details at citynews.ca.
North Korea says it's tested a hypersonic missile.
North Korea says Wednesday's missile launch was a successful test of a hypersonic missile as part of its program to modernize its strategic weapons systems. It was the first known missile launch by North Korea in about 2 months. The official Korean Central News Agency said the Central Committee of the ruling Workers' Party expressed great satisfaction at the results of the missile test. Hypersonic weapons fly at speeds in excess of Mach 5 or 5 times the speed of sound. U.S.-led diplomacy on North Korea's nuclear program has been stalled since 2019 over the North's objections to international sanctions. I'm Mike Gracia.
And now a minute with Bill Good.
Try as I might, I just don't understand the American people when it comes to government and politics. A year ago today, a crowd of violent insurrectionists stormed the Capitol to try to prevent the peaceful transfer of power from Donald Trump to Joe Biden. At the time, many believed the election to be stolen. In a year, there hasn't been a shred of evidence of that despite Trump's claims. A year later, 80% of Republican supporters think it was a legitimate act of dissent or should be put aside as something that happened in the past. Increasingly, evidence points to the fact that Donald Trump sat in his office watching events unfold and for hours made no effort to call off his supporters. More astonishing to many Canadians, most elected Republican politicians, with the exception of Liz Cheney, have dared to speak out against Trump. In this country, even conservative voters helped to reduce their party to 2 seats when they believed it was time to end its time in government. And in this province, even NDP supporters turned on their party and reduced it to 2 seats. Democracy lies in the balance in the United States, and too few seem to care. It's my opinion. I'm Bill Good, and you're listening to City News 1130.
Let's shop better to help us reach our goals so we can live healthier. Let's shop for style and comfort that stands the test of time. Let's shop smarter with daily offers and interest-free payments so we can spend wisely. Let's shop brands that are true to our values, like buying Canadian. Let's reconnect with what truly matters and celebrate life to the fullest. Let's shop better at tsc.ca.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved.
Hi, I'm interested in a loan. How are you different?
Well, traditional lenders focus on salary, credit scores, and lengths of employment. But we just look at the equity you have in your home.
Oh,
So do you own your home?
sure do.
You're approved.
It can't be that easy.
It's that easy. That's why tens of thousands of Canadians just like you have trusted us for over 50 years.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved.
Go to alpinecredits.ca to get started. Some conditions apply.
926 to the Business Center for Desjardins. Here's Chris McCusker.
We continue to see a mixed and fluctuating picture on Bay and Wall Street. Now, markets in the U.S. are coming off the biggest losses since November. So right now, the Dow is down 82 points. The S&P is higher by 8, and the NASDAQ up by 52. We did hear from the U.S. Federal Reserve yesterday, which signaled it would be aggressive in order to cool inflation. Translation: interest rates are going up. But in fairness, many metrics are back to pre-pandemic levels, except interest rates. David Baskin is the chairman at Baskin Wealth Management.
Look, this is going to have to take place eventually. The Fed can't keep buying bonds at the current rate forever, and we can't have free money forever. So, it may be that the timing was a bit of a surprise, but the fact of the program can't really have surprised anybody.
The TSX right now higher by 79 points, 21,118. Now the gold stock's a downdraft today. Gold itself is down $36, $17.88. That's a drop of 2%, but oil is close to a 2-month high. It's up by $2.15, $79.99 a barrel. That is a gain of 2.7%. The shares in the parent company of this radio station, Rogers Communications, moving lower on Bay Street. So right now that stock is down 0.5% to $61.38 a share. We are learning today that the head of the company's wireless division, Dave Fuller, is set to leave Rogers. He was in the job 9 months, and we are getting word a little more than a month after Joe Natale left his post as CEO. The Canadian dollar right now is slightly higher. It's up by 18,100, 78.58 cents U.S. StatsCan says the country's merchandise trade surplus widened to $3.1 billion in November from a revised $2.3 billion in October. At the Business Center, I'm Chris McCusker.
With 30 years of responsible investment expertise, Desjardins' industry-leading funds like the Desjardins Sociétaire Clean Tech Fund help treat 300 million liters of water in 1 year, while aiming to deliver positive results for investors and the planet. This happy investor and dolphin will concur. For responsible investment, visit desjardinsfunds.com/RI. To read the prospectus or for data calculation methodology, visit desjardinsfunds.com.
Dean Rex Siedler produces The Morning Show. Hanami Nassar is editing City News on CA. Charmaine De Silva is our news director. City News time, 9:30.
Vancouver's #1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is City News 1130, everywhere.
Good morning. It is Thursday, January 6th. I'm Randy Neal. Here's, it is -2 degrees, and here's what's making news. Of course, questions being raised about the impact of Vancouver's single-use item fees on people experiencing homelessness, with some free meals no longer so free.
Not looking for a pat in the back, but just common decency.
With warnings up to a third of BC's workforce could be hit with COVID, we hear from some frontline workers who say they are already stretched to the limit.
Home sales hit an all-time high last year in Metro Vancouver. That demand means prices will likely keep on rising.
The president of the Canadian Medical Association says it's time for some tough discussions about the treatment of unvaccinated COVID patients as Omicron cases overwhelm our healthcare systems.
We're going to hear from Bruce Boudreau as the Canucks get set to hit the ice for just practice today. Sports at 45. Markets are still mixed and fluctuating. We've got Bitcoin firmly in the red, and gold is a weight on Bay Street. Business at 56. It is 9:31. Let's get an update on the traffic. Here is Ryan Littimer.
And Dean, it's still super slippery out there. Snow day for many. For the rest of us that have to drive around. Winter maintenance, HOV lane closed off both ways. Power's out for 1,000 customers in Burnaby. Gallardi at University Drive down to Burnaby Mountain, so basically just the west of Burnaby Mountain, the Duffy. You'll see a whole bunch of flashing lights. SFU students, of course, is canceled today. Surrey, a bunch of spun-out semis. 190 seconds closed off between 40th to Colebrook Road. In Coquitlam, still this vehicle in the ditch. Lougheed by Pitt River Road. Westbound Lougheed's down to one lane. It's really busy coming down from Chilco. Reminder for the Coquitlam Highway, the Jackknife Semi has had it closed off for the last few hours north of Hope. The number one still shut down north of Boston Bar. And Highway 3 is open for all travelers east of Hope to the interior. Traffic is brought to you by Imagine Laserworks. The proven smoking cessation method can also help with drug and alcohol addictions, weight loss, and more. Find location nearest you. Visit ImagineLaserworks.com.
All right, it appears most people heeded advice and called in a snow day today, but freezing rain could cause many more issues on the road. Meteorologist Michael Coos joins us from the Penfolds Roofing and Solar Weather Center with more. Michael, what's it looking like out there?
Well, right now it's freezing drizzle or nothing at all. The precipitation is quite light. We knew we'd be into this window after the first phase before that second wave slid back in from the west and really southwest, rotating out of an offshore low. That low tracks across the area relatively rapidly, but we will get into the periods of heavier rain coming in late afternoon this evening and overnight, tapering off tomorrow. Before the temperatures rise and we get into all rain, we're seeing the locked-in cold air out in the valley, and it's going to linger into at least the mid-afternoon. So we'll see freezing drizzle and potentially periods of heavier freezing rain before it starts to warm up into the evening in the valley. Around Metro Vancouver, it's less of a concern. The drizzle we're seeing now, that's what we're looking at as far as intensity before things start to warm up with that rain intensifying. Now, tomorrow it's windy in the afternoon, quite strong winds with a clearing sky. Temperature drops from overnight readings around 4 degrees. Now, right now it's -1. It has warmed to -1 at YVR. It's -2 downtown, a 0 in West Vancouver. The guaranteed high is 4 degrees.
Thank you, Michael. And for those who did not or could not stay at home today, it has been an interesting morning commute. Our Monica Gold joins us live with more on that part of the story. And Monica, you were just outside talking to people trying to get to work. How are you? How are they finding things?
Well, Rendina, obviously each person's commute will depend on where they're getting and how. And while some people have been waiting longer than usual for a bus or SkyTrain or experiencing a slow and slick drive, quite a few people tell me they are finding things better than they expected.
Pretty good. Honestly, all the sidewalks are shoveling. That is good for the pedestrians. But for the cars, it's different.
Pretty good, actually. They've cleared most of the sidewalks. Yeah, it's been really good.
Got off the 99 and I did, and it was actually amazingly good. I almost wish I had driven on those.
Now, there are some people who couldn't talk to me because they were running late for work, so maybe things a little less smooth for them. TransLink is reporting delays and detours along numerous routes, and they are encouraging people to give themselves extra time and to expect delays. A similar message from YVR. The departure and arrival list showing a lot of delays and cancellations this morning. Today's weather also means a snow day for many kids, with most schools closing for today. You can find a full list on our website, citynews.ca. Reporting live, Monica Gould, City News.
Thank you, Monica. Not everyone is unhappy with this snow and freezing rain. City News 1130's Mike Lloyd tells us it's good times for companies that pivot to plowing and snow clearing.
It's a busy time for companies like Burnaby Blacktop. President Adrian Alblatt says when the snow starts falling, it's go time. All their trucks are quickly converted to snow clearing and salting and sanding. It is 12-hour shifts, 24 hours a day for dozens of employees. Generally, they're excited at first, but it's a high-stress, cold job, and it's hard to keep up with demand. But people are usually pretty happy to see them.
People do say they're happy, and then they also try to swindle you to come and do their lot as well for free, or for some hot coffee or donuts or something.